If you could pick, how do you want to die? Happy. Best answer. Happy and in my sleep. Unlike the screaming passengers in my car. Like my uncle. He died in his mid-90s, just a few years after his wife died. He was a retired physician. He got a cancer diagnosis that he knew was fatal, but he had some time. So, he spent his remaining months touring the country, seeing his kids, grandkids and great-grandkids, his nephews and nieces, friends, etc. He had a grand old time. Then, pretty much exactly to the timetable he had estimated, he took a bad turn. He summoned his kids who took turns talking with him at his bedside in hospice. At one point, my cousin Chris was with him as he faded in and out of consciousness. The phone rang, Chris answered and said, "No, Dad's not conscious right now. This is not a good time." But his dad perked up. "Who is that?" he asked. "Just some friends of yours," said my cousin, who handed the phone to my uncle. They exchanged a few words, then the friends arrived 20 minutes later with a couple bottles of amazing vintage wine. My cousin said, "No, Dad. You're on a lot of painkillers. Alcohol would be a very bad idea." My uncle laughed and said, "Well, what's the worst that could happen?" There was an awkward silence and then everyone started laughing. The wine was delicious and he lasted another 48 hours. That's how I want to go out. That sounds like a simply outstanding way to go. A great end to a long life. I bet he was a great man. He was a playful, relaxed soul. I hope to one day be described as such. That's touching. Blowing up in my sleep. Man found dead in his bed after unexpectedly gaining 10 million subscribers on Instagram. Edit. Well, this blew up, staying out of bed for a while. I'd like to get shot multiple times and be found moments later by the main character, die in their arms and set them on their vengeance arc until they have the villain at their mercy, only for them to go, "No. This isn't what Asfelde would have wanted." I mean, it could happen. I like this. The greatest answer to this question ever has to be from Tyrion Lannister. In my own bed? At the age of 80? With a belly full of wine and a girl's mouth around my cock? So he wants a blowjob so good it sucks the life out of him. Being hit by a meteor. The idea of a space rock that could have traveled millions of miles through space and only to have its journey timed up perfectly with where I am at the moment would be crazy. I mean, the odds would literally be astronomical. Like my grandma, her heart stopped suddenly while sleeping, must have been painless. Changed my mind, I just remembered she died alone, without having anyone around for 1 week. She had 13 kids, which are my aunts and uncles, so I guess she was used to have people around. Pretty sad. I wondered. If your heart stops beating, are you still alive for a few minutes and eventually die from hypoxia or whatever it is? If awake, you'll only be so for a few seconds. Death is a process rather than a single event. It would depend how you're defining being dead, but yes, technically if your heart isn't pumping blood around then your brain isn't getting the bits it needs, mainly oxygen, and dies from that. These days, you aren't dead until you're warm and dead. People have been resuscitated after incredible amounts of time dead at low temperatures, and it's actually common practice in modern medicine to deliberately lower body temperature for some procedures. I wonder what would have happened if they tried to bring back that old politician that died on TV. I don't think he was from America, but I remember seeing it. Can you bring back someone who dies from natural causes if you are there? Can you bring back someone who dies from natural causes if you are there? Likely not. It's due to the fact, as another commenter mentioned, death is a process and usually not a single event even though a single event may have caused it. You would need to reverse all the causes and prevent the brain from being damaged. This is how resuscitation works. However, even if you were able to resuscitate someone, the longer they have been dead increases the chances of severe brain damage. This is why keeping a patient hypothermic is so critical in some cases. Keeping the body extremely cold delays some of death's process and preserves the brain. In my bed. Of natural causes. At 2500. The day you turn 2500, the day before your 2500 first birthday, or somewhere in between? Day before, why not? Pain-free, most of all. I hope to live a relatively long life but not long enough to need people to change my diapers. No, thank you. I have always said that. If someone has to change my diapers, I want them to give me a go to sleep forever pill. I am a big supporter of legal, well-regulated euthanasia. I think everyone should have the choice in when they go. Nobody should be forced to go through huge amounts of pain and indignity at the end of their lives. It is really cruel in so many cases. Exactly, it's humane to put down an animal to save it from suffering, but a human has to linger and wait to die? Sometimes painfully? It's bullshit. When we were making a decision to put our dog down or not, the vet said, think of his 3 favorite things to do and ask yourself if he can still do them. If not, what sort of quality of life is that? It made sense. And then I think of how many humans die, not only unable to do their favorite things, but unable to go to the toilet, feed themselves, even breathe on their own. And that is what makes me in favor of legal euthanasia. Death by snoo snoo. First by the most beautiful women in all of Amazonia. Then the large women. Then the petite women. Then the large women again. Right next to the detonation of a nuclear bomb. I watched a video which stated that you would die before the impulses from your sensory nerves were able to travel through your nervous system to register the pain. You would literally die and not know what happened. Pretty terrifying when you think about it. That is him typing this. I could literally just disappear and not even know without warning. I'm sure the call out from a nearby operator, nuke inbound, as someone received their 30th kill in a row, would be warning enough tbh. Edit, thank you for the awards, kind strangers. Unexpected headshot. In my sleep peaceful like. On the opposite end, definitely not from slipping in the shower on the slick floor lathered and shampooed up from hitting my head on the spigot as I fall to my demise. I read about someone who dies in a shower after slipping and hitting her head, but it wasn't blunt force. Her hair clogged the drain and she drowned. I'm not an emotional person, and reading bad things, or even awful things, normally doesn't faze me, but that story got me. I would like to unread this post. Smile. Riding a rocket into a black hole. That, or facing off against a house full of federal agents with a gun in each hand and a snoot full of cocaine. I mean, given absolute freedom to choose, I'm gonna go out like a boss. Being tossed specifically into a supermassive black hole would be better. You'd be able to survive the tidal forces due to the size of the black hole, only dying from lack of oxygen before having to experience spaghettification. You'd be able to watch the universe disappear around you, as well as having the unique title of only human to have been causally disconnected from the universe while alive. Yeah, spaghettification sounds like one of the worst ways to die lol. It'd be quick. Or I suppose very slow, depending on your point of view. Relatively speaking. Old age while asleep. I agree, but I always say it like one of my favorite jokes. When I die, I want to go like my grandpa. Peacefully in my sleep. Not screaming like the passengers in his car. I would like to spontaneously combust whilst telling ghost stories to a bunch of people around a campfire in a spooky forest. Preferably when I get to the climax of the story. There will be children present. If I'm going out, I want to traumatize a few people along the way. Imagine everyone just starts clapping hand after you combust. That was a great magic trick. Okay, you can come out of hiding now. Peacefully in my sleep like my grandfather. Not yelling and screaming like the passengers in his car. Sleep. Yes. Just wake up dead. How the hell you wake up dead? Because you alive before you went to sleep. So, you telling me that you can go to bed dead and wake up alive? You can't go to the bed dead. That shit would been redundant. Damn. That's some quantum shit right there. Thanos snapped and turned into dust, but, like, at a really funny moment. In my own bed, at the age of 80, with a belly full of wine and a girl's mouth around my cock. I was scrolling looking for this comment. Seems like people forgot God already. The North remembers.